The Trevor Jackson Podcast.
The family, today we got a dope discussion to have. Day one of the Jay-Z Yankee Stadium 3-show project that he got going on was fire. Let me give the brother a round of applause. Him bringing out Beyoncé, Nas, Alicia Keys, Blue Ivy on the piano doing her thing. Let me give all the people that contributed. Even Jaz-O, bringing Jaz-O out was fire to me. Memphis, Bleak, everybody who participated in it, round of applause. Real talk. We got to talk about Dr. Cornel West. He had a conversation on America's history that I want to play today. Pastor Manning said black people make the best slaves or whatever. It's just, some crazy conversations going on in the world. This is a full-length episode. I'm going to play a few of my records coming up from the new album that I'm dropping. If not me, then who? We're going to first get into, the Jay-Z conversation. That's going to be the first topic. But I want to acknowledge something. I'm not doing a review on Future's album, but we got to tap into a few of the records before we even get into the conversation. Let's get right to it, though, man. Let's go.
Ain't told you I love you in a minute, though I ain't doing you wrong. Flash it in a motherfucker, all these carrots on. Flash it in a motherfucker. Ain't crash out in a minute, I've been in my zone. I get lit up like a stadium, all these carrots on me. I've been thinking about the principles and not the normal. Rolling doty through the difficulties and for the nonsense. Who was trying to follow my steps, but he need to finish school. Told my sons to be better than me, I told them the truth. Been doing numbers, making sacrifice and paying dues. I'm going so hard, sometimes I be feeling misused. Too many flogging in these streets, already peaked the move. My ex wanna pull up on me to vent, I told her push through. Say she ain't laughed in a minute, blew that cash in a minute. She been staying with this nigga, don't even matter what he did, that's they biz. I'm just here being real, guess it is what it is. I go leer out the country, come and pilot with your friend. I can't knock a player to win, let's get lost inside the wind. We forever locking in. If I can rule this universe, it wouldn't be sin. I free my dogs from out the feds, out the pen. Red medallions for the blood that was shed. Nigga tricked out, drinking it like it's red. Nigga blitzed out and put that boy to bed. If I can rule the universe, rat shouldn't live. I used to dream past the hood, Beverly Hills. I love my girl, it's hard to tell her how I feel. My girl, I call her Miss Dior. California girls, they always in the store. Know you got the body, make me wanna sing. I can start a cult the way they follow me. So many bitches all around the world, like California girls. So many bitches all around the world, like California girls. Red bone, mama, work that jazzy teens. Bone pussy, curly hair from Lebanese. Push up in my cock, she won't get off her knees. From the sun up to the sundown, that's the energy. Her title, she staying devoted. Made it disappear, yeah, she caught it. Italian girl, she coming 2 for 1. She just ate me so good, I got her body done. My Yolanda girl, I call her Miss Dior. California girls, they always in the store. Know you got the body, make me wanna sing. I can start a cult the way they follow me. So many bitches all around the world, like California girls. So many bitches all around the world, like California girls.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.
I swear to God, when I heard that song, it sounded like, Future was riding around in the mystery van on an episode of Scooby-Doo. Real talk, no cap. Hey, man, I normally do initial reactions to albums, but my initial listen to that album, I wasn't, too fond of what was being said and the records I heard. And I really don't even react to albums that I have to talk bad about, because I used to do that in the past. Those videos, I would stop the whole video halfway through the album and just shut down because it was trash to me. I'm not going to do that to Future. Future got enough credit and he has been in the game long enough doing phenomenal work. But, I'm kind of questioning his last two albums, the effort that he has put into Mixtape Pluto and this one. I'm going to live with it for a whole week, and then I'm going to come back and do a review to the album because, if you putting out something right now, why Jay-Z in Yankee Stadium? Why J. Cole performing and filling up arenas? While we into the middle of summer, that shit got a hit when that sun out, man. This time when people on vacation, they working out, they need that good music. And I just feel like 2026 has been a very interesting year for music just in general. So let's get on into this conversation of Jay-Z performing his Reasonable Doubt set at Yankee Stadium. And what really caught my attention from this, man, was, him bringing Nas on stage, Beyoncé on stage, Blue Ivy playing the piano. But we're going to get into this Nas clip first, and we're just going to converse about it.
Out the beat rolls. Turn on my CeeLo, window without the airplane. Keep some E and J, sitting to the corner stairway. Either on the corner, paying grand with the CeeLo trim. Laughing at face heads, trying to sell some broken. Let's go. She's asking on quick forever, nigga. Reminiscing, got the last time the task force split. Now they be running through my block shooting. Time to start a revolution. Head to Houston, once they caught us some guard. The Mac 10 was in the grass and ran like a cheetah. Run Savannah. Pick the back up, some brothers back up. The back skip, man was hitting niggas one way. I made a backflip, heard a few chicks scream. My arm shook, couldn't look, gave another scream, heard it click. My shit is sucks. And when they shoot, now I'm in danger. Pull my shit back, and people is caught up in the chamber. So now I'm running through the building lobby, and it was for the children probably couldn't see. So what you saying? The game ain't the same. Got never niggas pulling the triggers. Fade to the and blame some corners. Crews without guns. They broad day nights, nigga kids, they run up on us. Full 5 engages. Facts and facts, same niggas. Catch them back to back. Passing the cracks in black. It's a snitch on the block, getting niggas not. To hold your stash till the coke price drop. So this crackhead, say she got a smoke nice rock. And if it's good, she bring you customers in. But yo, you gotta slide on vacation. Inside information, laws, dealers, and race, and their wise bases. And drop deep, as a judge of my breath, I never sleep. Beyond the walls of intelligence, back in the pot, I hit the prime. When I'm in the New York state of mind. New York, New York state of mind. New York, New York state of mind. New York, New York state of mind. I'm from where the cameras from. News cameras never come. Yeah. You and your vans hung in every verse of your rise. With the grams and some niggas vanish every summer. With the blue vans with some, we started working again at home. With the plans was to get funds in, skate over set to achieve this goal quicker. So long, my way wet. Faced with eventual odds, shit like that straight best. So I'm built to hold something and do nothing. Check. I'm from the other side where other guys go. Walk too much. The girls to the project where it's fucking silly. Too much. So they ran up the time and we thought the dudes to trust. I don't know what the fuck they know. Them niggas sound just like us. I'm from with them. Beef is inevitable. Sometimes unforgettable. Moves is in abundance by half price where the news. Your word was everything, so everything you said you do. You did it. Couldn't talk about it if you ain't in it. I'm from when they pulled the car. They know you all day about who's the best MC. We trust all
Round of applause to them brothers, man. I want to pose a question before I continue on, because I'm going to play the rest of their performance also. But I want to ask y'all a question. I want y'all participating in the comment section. Which song is better, New York State of Mind or Empire State of Mind? And also I want to say I like the mashup of the two records, New York State of Mind. Then Jay-Z started spitting his verse of Where I'm From over the New York State of Mind beat. flawless execution by the DJ and the people who thought to put that into play like that. That was dope to me. Another round of applause. I want to say something about the internet for a minute because, people be in their feelings and be emotional all the time on the internet, wanting to counsel people and stuff like that, and see people fail, talking about it was empty, Jay-Z doesn't have the cachet, the ticket sales are low and all of that. Clicks and views and people having a voice now who normally wouldn't have a voice, it's nasty, man. People was putting Jay-Z and Nas up against each other, talking about another win for our side. Queens won this time because, the casino got pushed through for Nas, but it didn't get pushed through for Jay-Z. But we see them brothers didn't let that bother them, and they continued on with their creativity. They continue on with their brotherhood and moving forward because unity is our biggest power. To me, that's just my take on it. But let me let them continue on with their greatness, man. Let's go.
At each other's throats for the love of God. Catch cases open the judge on. Most times find themselves locked up behind bars at all. I'm from where they fall. Rebound stars. I'm from Marcy, son. Thought I remind y'all. Just up below where I'm from. Marcy, son. They nothing nice. Queensbridge, state of mind. From up below where I'm from. Marcy, son. They nothing nice. Queensbridge, state of mind. From up below where I'm from. Marcy, son. They nothing nice. The pro state of mind. From up below where I'm from. Marcy, son. They nothing nice. Let's go. Be having dreams and I'm a gangster. Breaking my way, holding text. Making sure the cash can correct. Accept investments and stock. Showing up the blocks to sell rocks. Winning gunfights with cops. But just a nigga. Walking with his finger on the trigger. Making up bigger till my pockets get bigger. I am the type of brother made for you to start testing. Give me a Smith and Wesson. I have niggas undressing. Yeah, thinking of cash flow. Buddha, shelter. If I can frustrate it, I'ma hijack Delta. In the PJs, my blitz ain't blaze. Bullets are sprays. Yo, bitches is brains. It's like a maze full of black strap. Breakers down in his back. When I hear and all the stories where my people come back black. I'm living with the nights of jet black. Things like to get cracked. Just that dream I can sit back and land like a clone. With trucks stripped on. All the legal luxury life. Rings flooded with stones. I got so many rhymes I don't think I'm too safe. Life's parallel to hell, but I must maintain and be prosperous. With them dangerous hostages arrested. Blaming us, held like hostages. It's only right I was born to use mics. The stuff that I write is tougher than I'm taking rappers to a new plateau. New rap song. My rhyming is a vitamin. Hell without a capsule. The smooth criminal on beat breaks. Never put me in your box if you. The city never sleeps. Full of villains and creeps. Where I like to do my hustle. I'm an addict for sneakers. 20s and Buddha. Bitches with beepers. In the streets I can preach ya. About blunts I teach ya. And hell beat like the birds in my breath. I never sleep. I made a puzzle and backtrack the earlier time. Nothing's equivalent to the New York state of mind. Make some noise, let's go one time tonight, New York City. Make some noise for my dog, Jay-Z.
Hey, before we move along in the conversation and I play other clips and stuff, man, if you are a consumer of hip-hop culture and you appreciate the culture at its purest form, and you say you can't say nothing negative about that, man. Those blends of those songs and making it sound like one, and that performance was flawless to me. Another thing that was interesting about that is because, ageism in hip-hop is starting to die off. I talk about it a lot, but it's starting to die off because the best music being released is from older niggas. Older artists. Let me not call the brothers niggas, but older artists. When I look at that and I see Nas 51, Jay 56, and how they spitting and doing ad-libs and hyping each other up, knowing each other verses after they had beefed and now they unified and coming together. Stop, man. stop. That shit greatness, man. Some may like Nas more. Some may like Hove more. But together, shit, to me, they better. Let's get into the next clip. Let's go. Hove got hot up at motherfucker wifey came up there. That nigga had to take the coat off. He said, shit getting piped up around her. I'm going to tell y'all something, man. Whoever was that band, you know, I didn't notice it while I was watching it yesterday live, but them implementing instrumentals from other songs while they performing another song, then switching back to the original song. Good God. Good God, that's the pinnacle of this shit, man. Like, that's the highest of the high. If y'all know who the band was that The Roots? Shit, they was killing that last night. They was killing the production last night. That was flawless. But, you know, this is not a shot at Mary J. Blige. Beyoncé killed that, man. He might as well release a remix to that shit, a modernized version with Beyoncé doing it. Pfft. Stupid. If I was Hove, I shouldn't even be giving them this idea for free. All the songs where I got females singing on it, I would redo them and let B sing them, and he redo them today at this age with the similar lyrics, but modernize it a little bit. That's a great idea. That's something I would love to purchase, to be honest with you, man. You know, watching this and watching him do it with family and friends and stuff, him bringing Memphis Bleak up on the stage and Blue Ivy. We're gonna play that in a minute. You know, at his favorite baseball team stadium and stuff like that. You know, this is amazing to me. You know, I'm an artist myself, so I like looking at the creativity aspect. That's something I would want to do in my hometown or at my favorite baseball team. I would love to perform at the Dodgers Stadium or go home to the Knoxville Smoky Stadium and perform a set and have the city pop out there at the Knoxville Smoky Stadium. That'd be lovely. But, you know, he addressed something during this show also, and I really don't see him topping this on night 2. You know, I might stream it live. If I don't, I'm going to cut up the most popular clips from night 2 and then just converse about it like I did right now, because I really ain't no live person, but I need to start going live again, to be honest with you, so I can tap in with the family. But this is what everybody is talking about from this show right here, this freestyle.
I'm the target. Hey, don't miss that target. Those excuses ain't what you doing, but Apple and Walmart did. You shopping at Amazon or you boycott? You posting on Instagram? That's Meta, boy. Stop it. Y'all know Google owns YouTube. You picking and choosing and politicking as usual. They dig deep for narratives. It's embarrassing. They running up characters, had to bring back up Captivated. Buddy took a check, I ain't even mad at that. Along with that check, sign a non-disparagement. I'm the one they can't control. Y'all better be glad as him. I'm the one they can't control. You better be glad as him. Have to build you back in the community. That's just good math for him. I'm listening to Twitter activists, they type it, I laugh at them. There's really no comparison. Y'all check my stats again. I'm bringing folks home to their family. Laws get passed kissing. You would like it or not, he don't do no ass kissing. Ex-drug dealer, you might not like the packaging, but my presence is the president. My gift is rapping, oh shit! Let's get on some Brooklyn shit!
Oh, man. Salute the Hove, man. You know, I converse a lot about, you know, the cancellation and the banning of certain things and the boycotting of Target and a multitude of places and stuff that's going on in the black culture. But I try my best to speak about it in an objective way where my feelings is not attached to it, because, you know, I look at these platforms. It's so easily accessible to create and to give a person a voice who is just trying to monetize situations that's popular at the moment. All of these content creators, to me, is actually lame as hell, trying to monetize situations that they ain't living themselves. You know, this is on YouTube, man. We know who owns YouTube. You know what I'm saying? They benefiting off of me just uploading and speaking. I can't really speak bad about something that I'm using. You know, I'm using them to even have a voice. They profiting off of, you know, if I'm upset, they still profiting off of me. That's basically what Hove was saying. How you gonna pick and choose who to boycott? It's politics as usual. Niggas on dumb shit most of the time. They really ain't standing on business like they say they is, or they would stand on business completely. That freestyle, he said he was on offense all 2026. You know, I like that. It gives me something to talk about, something to agree with or disagree with. But I know he probably heard Funk Flex on the radio giving his opinion about Jay-Z's stance with Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to play a little bit of that. You know, I want to hear it because, you know, and I want to play it for y'all, for the people who may not have heard it, what he had to say about Jay-Z and Colin Kaepernick, and then we're going to continue on with the conversation. Let's get to it.
Why this thing is real questionable it's not questionable anymore, Jay. It's not questionable anymore. to be honest. It's like you cut his knees off because some way or how the NFL spoke to you or you made your way to them and you knew whatever bag that you were taking was going to neutralize Colin. You knew that. You're smarter than that. But it's okay if you want to take it. Take it, my brother. Take it, but wear it, man. That's all, because that's why this all gets weird. If you're saying something about him, he gets upset. His team gets upset because we see through the jokes. And listen, it's a good jokes, bro. I ain't knocking your jokes. I'm just saying it came at the expense of Colin Kaepernick, and we saw you.
Facts.
Let me talk for a minute. I was a 49ers fan. I am a 49ers supporter. Let me not use that word fan. I'm a 49ers supporter. I understood what Colin Kaepernick was kneeling for. But, you know, I ain't rocking with Cap like that. You know, when you start something and something gains traction like that, you got to have a forward motion. What's next after the kneeling? You know, he was not having nothing to say to the media. I don't know if y'all remember around that time, but he didn't speak to the media about why till after a year later. He wasn't that great of a quarterback. Also, to be honest with you, he took us to, you know, a decent place. I think, did we go to the Super Bowl? Yeah, we went to the Super Bowl with Cap, but we lost to the Ravens when they shut that run down. We lost to the Ravens. It's just Cap was a decent quarterback. The Niners had weapons around them, but, you know, that was bringing too much attention. You know, people was talking about this and that, counseling the NFL, doing this and this with the NFL, and stop watching games and all of that, which, you know, if Kaepernick was kneeling because of the George Floyd situation, which I got a different take on that also now, but, you know, times have changed. If Cap would have spoke on what he wanted the people to do, he could have had people do whatever to support him. He didn't have no vision. The NFL players didn't even know what the vision was for it. It was just we kneeling because of George Floyd dying, and we don't like police brutality and all of that. Police brutality is never going to end. I'm just here to tell you like it is. As long as it's capitalism, as long as it's law enforcement, police brutality is never going to end. If he started something and he didn't have, you know, no forward thinking with it. What Funk Flex is saying and people on the internet saying Jay-Z didn't stand with Cap. Cap got a bag. Cap got a bag from that. He accepted a bag. If he was really standing on business, he wouldn't have wanted to play again. He wouldn't have wanted the NFL's money. You know, that's just my take. But when that money get low and you start wanting that money, you know, you start accepting things and start acting right, start behaving right. Y'all remember he had the NFL tryout in Atlanta where he was throwing the ball and all of that. They gave him another chance. They gave him another chance. By the time he wanted to be vocal about what he was talking about, he was garbage. I'm sorry. I might have been too long-winded. Let me let Funk Flex talk.
You made, not you and your team, made personal calls to air personalities to make sure how they spun it. So, he was with Colin in the beginning, but when you smelt the bag, and I hate to say this, my brother, but this is how it works. You was with Colin, wearing the jersey with him, phone calling him and everything. Y'all was communicating. And you either got a call, a whiff, that the NFL wants to talk to you. Somewhere in there, you made a decision. Jukes. But it's okay. Brooklyn. I understand it. You a hustler. I understand you, bro. But I keep it a buck, man. Most Brooklyn and hustlers, they just say what it is, man. I'm going to get that money. That's what the part you're not saying, Jay-Z. I'm going to get that money. Once again, I like 9 out of the 10 things that Jay-Z does. This one is just a subject matter that's been coming up, and we talking about it. Now, we're not going to fast forward. We're going to keep moving. Then we get Leonard in there. Leonard Leonard, what's his name?
McKeevy?
No, it's cool. Don't diss him. No, see the guard?
Yeah.
He's at this press conference. And to be honest, once again, your accomplishments are great, my brother. But see the guard, you made your name off the street, and everybody that believes in you on that World Star World, online, the grime, everybody from the street. That's where you made your name. So then when you get up into some press conference in the NFL and you start stuttering, looking stupid, that ain't an act. Because now that we learn after Akademiks has exposed you that this is a prior partnership that y'all did. And
I'm going to stop him again. I got the clips from the conversation that DJ Akademiks and Charlamagne the God had, and both of them addressing their relationships with, Charlamagne addresses his relationship with Rock Nation, and Akademiks addresses his relationship with OVO and Drake and all of that. But I'm going to let Flex continue on. But before I let him continue on, he said, I understand the jokes. I understand you from Brooklyn. I understand you you a hustler, but just say that. One thing hustlers don't do is say that. They ain't going to tell you when you getting finessed, when you getting jokes. They just going to do it and get the paper. A lot of people move and act like it's morals and integrity in this financial industry and in business. That's not true. It's no such thing as morals and integrity in business. Business is business. Real talk. Let me see what Flex got to say. Let's go.
Problem is with the both of y'all is you're duping the public. That's the part in here. So you thought it was okay for Jay to say we're past kneeling and everything else. You sat there, you didn't say nothing. You could tell people behind the scenes what you said got edited out. We don't believe you. It's cool. And to be honest, his name's Charlamagne, I'm going to tell you why you did that. And I'm going to turn the music down. I'm going to tell you why a lot of people don't understand why you did that. I'm going to tell you why. You stood outside of New York, in North Carolina your whole life. I think you did a little time in Philly. And you looked down at this city and you were amazed by it. You want to come here. And you wanted to skip the line. And you thought, let me get next to Jay-Z. I mean, you rode his corn knob every chance you got, bro. Every chance you got. You rode his pepper and you got his mayonnaise all over your face. Every chance you got. You know why? Because you was looking for validation from a New York cat. You wanted validation. And what you did not realize, Charlamagne, is that boy Jay-Z right there, you ain't smarter than him. He's hustler from Brooklyn. You ain't never gonna outsmart him.
Ever.
And I know, Charlamagne, you was at your dinner table. Jay-Z really likes me. He likes my opinion. You was wearing that dirty Rock Nation hat I don't know how many days in a row. I thought it was a uniform. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. I am not taking away from your accomplishments and what you do for people. But I'm saying you were a groupie with that Jay-Z. And you know something? We're going to keep it a buck today. Us from New York, see, you thought us falling back on Jay, you could just jump in and put his knob all over your nose, right? And put his eggnog all in your mouth. And
I done had enough of that. The pause and all of that, the pause thing. One thing that has been going on for years and years is Hot 97 and the Breakfast Club 104.5, whatever those radio station platforms that they are on, have been beefing for I don't know how long. I look at Hot 97 now that Ebro is gone and they got the comedian brother in there or whatever his name, man, they be having 10 viewers on their lives. It's sad. How Hot 97 has fell off is sad. One thing I want to say, though, is that, I ain't disrespecting New Yorkers because I love New York City and I love New York City hip hop. But listening to Flex talk about people that come up there to be great, is that he said that, Charlamagne was looking for validation from a New York cat. He also said that he came from down there in North Carolina, which he isn't from North Carolina. Charlamagne is from South Carolina, to be honest with you. So get your terminology right and get yourself accurate, you know what I'm saying, before you speak on the South like that. Because they look down upon people from other regions, but they are the city with the most people from other parts of the world. That's the melting pot. Nobody, your mayor that's leading your city, Mamdani, is a Muslim from a whole nother country. It's more people from other parts of the world than it is New Yorkers, man. So you got to stop with that validation. Nobody has to be validated by none of y'all niggas because y'all niggas don't run the city. Sorry. Somebody had to say it. But, we was on Hove and Kaepernick. I don't know how I got there with Flex. Flex took it to the Charlamagne the God conversation, but he actually lined me up for the things that I had to say about this Charlamagne the God and Akademiks conversation. They sat down. They talked about their stances. Charlamagne the God doing business with Rock Nation, and also DJ Akademiks doing business with OVO and Drake, them over there, and they had some sort of tension. And Akademiks supposedly exposed Charlamagne the God, which I feel like, all this exposing culture make niggas look lame, to be honest with you.
Yo, anything anybody can say about me, they know I'm mad transparent. I'm open with it. Like, I'm not even hiding it. That's why I even can't wear it.
Nation.
And I'm not saying work. You see, you about to play semantics to me, I can tell.
What?
Because of course you're down on their payroll like some pawn, but nigga, you got mutual business interests with these niggas, bro.
Who said I didn't? We never had that conversation.
But that's like me saying, okay,
we never had that conversation. And that's one thing you said. You said Charlamagne never told me he had any affiliation with Rock Nation. That's not true.
Nigga, you never did.
Do you remember your scream the day after I called you that Friday? You literally said verbatim, Charlamagne said he's going to try to connect me with Rock Nation. Apparently, he got some type of connection with him. And you said...
you never said that, like... I'm thinking you just know. Because most of these, like, the Rock Nation people, I don't know who they are. Like, if I seen Desiree outside this building, I'd walk past her unless I remember what she looks like online. I've never seen her. I've never been in the same room with her. Nigga, even Jay, the only time I ever seen Jay, I was at a Kendrick concert. I seen that nigga in the skybox.
And you said,
I don't know these people.
And you said Desiree got me a therapist. I'm like, where the fuck, where I get that from?
Yeah, that's what they told me.
Who's they?
Nigga, the people. So I'm racking my mind around, and they're like, yo, they said you admitted it publicly.
I've never said that. Desiree got me a therapist? How crazy does that sound?
Nigga, I don't know, but they said you and her are locked in, and I'm like,
I love Desiree though.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's not a secret.
That makes sense. Well, I don't know. Listen, what I know, and this is what I was saying, I know you're too smart for it. Rock Nation been coming at me for smooth 3-4 years.
On what though?
On things that what's their initiative I'm going against. Like I just happen to, it could be the Meg shit. It could be like any initiatives that I've just never kind of been, and it's not like on some.
I thought Meg sued you.
No, Meg never sued me. Meg sued a blogger. But this is what we said. If we're gonna talk about, and we should talk about media campaigns and everything, because I'll agree with you on certain shit. Like when you're now talking about like Grant and Georgia, whatever you want to call him. Okay, if you want to call it a campaign, because I ain't gonna lie, that nigga, he is a smart nigga, bro. I gotta be honest. But if you're gonna deny that other people don't have campaigns,
they don't.
You're crazy,
bro. Nobody.
Yeah, please.
Nobody campaigns like yo. It's not even close.
No. It's the most visible and the most. I would say the loudest voice. Don't mean that's the only thing that's happening, bro. Nigga, I consulted with the best attorneys in the land. What they did for a deposition with me, that I'm not even party to the case. Bro, they tried 15 times to get me to purge myself because you're under the oath. They were setting it up with the lawsuits.
Why'd you do that without a lawyer? That's crazy.
I'm gonna tell y'all something that's interesting about this DJ Akademiks and Charlamagne the God conversation. You know, the public is wondering why do DJ Akademiks care so much about why Charlamagne the God is even, you know, linked with Roc Nation, or he has business dealings with Roc Nation. Just the average person is like, who cares? You know, but what I want to say about this, when I look at platforms like Vlad, No Jumper, and people that supposed to be hip hop platforms, but majority of the time they're talking about legal cases, murders, Lil Durk being locked up, YNW Melly, who snitching, who ain't snitching, Ratlanta, street culture. Street culture and hip hop is two totally different entities. So when DJ Akademiks get involved in cases with like the Tory and the Meg shooting, he is putting himself in a position to where he has to defend himself for the things that he is talking about and the people who he is with and against. You know, I learned from Star at the Star Report, Troy Terrain, you know, you got to be objective. The reason that is so important, because when you talk about these topics, you don't want to implement yourself in any form of legality so you won't get a complaint mailed to your house. Charlamagne the God don't even give a damn about what he talking about. He don't care. He got a successful radio career. Akademiks seems like he got anxiety, and he seems as if he's highly pressed about what's going on. So let these brothers continue on.
Of having tortious interference.
I don't know nothing about none of that shit.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you a pattern of how Roc Nation has moved. Bobby Shmurda's online saying the same thing, right?
Well, can I say something from my perspective?
How come everybody has stories that are matching? There's a pattern.
Can I say some things? This is why I fuck with Roc Nation, because I've seen how they treat people that can't do anything for them. I've seen the exact opposite of a lot of the things.
Frank Lucas used to give back to the hood too.
I've seen it. What are you talking about? You're comparing a drug dealer to a legal black and brown corporation?
No, because you're saying that because they have done good things for people who are not fortunate, that mean they're overall good. I'm naming you specific things.
Yes, and I can name you specific things that I've seen them do for people.
So if I kill 3 niggas and I do a turkey giveaway, it's cool.
Why is it killing? This is business. First of all,
I'm telling you the bad things that they did.
There are no permanent friends or enemies when it comes to business. And in business, and you're going to learn this as you continue to do business, there's going to be times where people just are not going to be happy. That's just the way this shit goes. If you've been doing business don't say nothing for a second. If you've been doing business for as long as they've been doing business, at that level, it is impossible to have a perfect score. You can't point to any businessman, businesswoman on this planet that has a perfect score. There's always going to be somebody that feels like, oh, I got slighted, or oh, this didn't go right for me. That's just the way shit goes.
You're missing the
I'm not missing nothing.
The majority of the media narrative, if you think this is just the normal amount of dissenters that are saying, oh, I felt I got screwed over. If you ask,
what's the ratio?
You do a poll, you should do it on the Breakfast Club. You should do a poll about what is their consensus when they hear Roc Nation. Roc Nation.
You know, the consensus has changed. You know, they always talk about the Desiree Perez lady. Her daughter has been in the media for certain things. She has been in the media for snitching on the lady in Miami. I forgot the big boss lady in Miami. Griselda Blanco. I think that's who she told on. It's crazy that Jay-Z got the person who snitched on Griselda Blanco in his count. But, you know, Akademiks not letting Charlamagne the God speak. Just because you talking more and talking over somebody doesn't mean that you winning. And implementing Bobby Shmurda in that conversation as somebody of substance and credence to talk about Roc Nation is frivolous. It's blasphemous. Bobby Shmurda was given an opportunity, and he was a one-hit wonder. You know, who cares at the end of the day? Who cares? He wanted to be a big-time independent artist now. That's where he's at. He's independent. He's free to do whatever he want to do. And without that major backing and that major label, we ain't heard a Bobby Shmurda song since. Just real talk. And he had the leap, the jump, you know what I'm saying, to be able to be a superstar. What I want to say in closing to this is that, you know, business is business. Business is messy. I've lost a lot of friends because the business practices wasn't right. You know, money is a tool that you use to live the life that you want to live. If somebody has an idea or they're doing something that isn't beneficial, you have to restructure the business or you have to remove yourself from the business. That doesn't mean that y'all don't have to be cool no more. But when you do business, business is something that is never going to be something that people agree with. I don't agree with a lot of people on their business practices and the things that they do. I don't want to even do business with half of these niggas, to be honest with you. So when I listen to Akademiks, he think people have to be morally correct in business. Jay-Z is the ultimate capitalist. He told people he's a capitalist. He told people what he's willing to do finances. You can either like him, love me, or leave me alone, just like his song say. And I agree with that aspect at the end of the day because I know what business is. A lot of people say, let's get together and do all of this. I don't trust nobody when it comes to business. My mama taught me that. When you need these people in this business aspect, they are not going to be around. Real talk. I want to play one of my records, man, off of my up-and-coming album, If Not Me, Then Who. You know, this song is streaming on multiple radio stations. It's playing in Mexico. It's playing in D.C. It's playing in Tennessee. This is featuring Lex Lucchese, one of the CEOs at Empire and Elevate Records. You know, this song is titled The Opportunist. This has something to do with capitalism itself. You know, because people only around when you shine and they ain't nowhere to be found when you grinding. Let's get into the record, man. Real talk. The Opportunist. Let's go.
Star dinner, could care less about the price. Celebrate the wins, celebrate the losses. Some players stay cautious, they hate when you ballin'. Made the lames nauseous, they sick of the floss. And I'm still kicking shit like a nigga Bruce Lee. Getting to this paper, my only degree. A representative for East Tennessee. My prime on the grind, I had them 20 apiece. Made the paper increase, now we out of their reach. Moving discreet, very unique. They pockets petite, I'm feeling complete. Made it out the streets, I was tired of losing. Had to cut off the opportunists. That's most likely. They only hit you up when you're shining. Never hit you up when you're hit you up. They only hit me up when we're shining. Never hit me up when you're grinding. They only hit you up when you're shining. Never hit you up when you're hit you up. Never hit me up when they opportunistic. I'm moving strategic. Stayed optimistic, check statistics. We up a couple M's, live in a different realm than a cruise on the lake. And my beef and Brock Tim's, young Slim, really him. Got the game from my father, a player unbothered. I'm betting with Mookie back to back like the Dodgers. Canada Goose Bomber, react calmer with respect and honor. Been about $1 since I was a toddler. Move like a mobster, stepping in Pradas. Stay strapped like one of them niggas for shotters. At the Vineyard and Martha's, I spent a few dollars. Graduated from the streets, known as a scholar. Always kept it real, boy, you know what it is. They around where you win, but start losing again. You can tell who your friends when there's nothing to lend. That's most likely. They only hit you up when you're shining. Never hit you up when you're hit you up. They only hit me up when we're shining. Never hit me up when you're grinding. They only hit you up when you're shining. Never hit you up when you're hit you up. Never hit me up when we
Thank y'all for checking out the record, man. It's on my Apple Music. It's streaming all over the place. It's even on this YouTube channel. If you watching this channel, if you listening to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, just go check out Snake the Great featuring Lex Lucchese, The Opportunist, man. It's a dope record. It's something inspirational to let you know that, some people got to be removed, dog. Business is business. So this is the last hip hop topic that I want to discuss today before we get into some of the black cultural topics. Jadakiss was on Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady's podcast talking about hip hop's writing process and just the writing process in general in music. A lot of people get it conflicted and want to do what is popular right now by coming up with the lyrics in their head and stuff like that and putting it together piece by piece. And people has removed writing or look at it as if it's something that isn't of substance no more. Let's go.
The young artists and new creatives, they think that they don't have to use a pen. Some of the best rhymes, some of the best songs was actually written.
Right.
Just because some people have the ability to put a verse or a song in their head without actually writing it down, that doesn't mean that you should stop writing.
Right.
It started with writing.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean? So yeah, me and Styles went in there with no pen. Sheik wrote his verse, and he had the best verse.
Right.
So you can't go off that.
People be followers, man, doing whatever is popular at the moment, trying to, belittle somebody because they ain't doing what's popular. Writing is a skill. I would hate to be the nigga that grew up saying that I put my lyrics down like this and I don't know where to put commas and periods and exclamation marks and all of that in my writing. Because I once was that young brother who didn't know how to articulate himself well. But now it's popular to be stupid. Writing books is a skill. Writing the books that you use to learn to evolve yourself in life is a skill. Writing lyrics helps you see the lyrics so you can perform the lyrics better. And it saves you time when you're in the studio writing your lyrics. Folks coming up saying 2 bars, stopping for 30 minutes, thinking of another 2 bars, putting 2 bars together. You done spent 10 hours in the studio on one song, blowing money, when I done went in there with my stuff already written in there and recorded a whole album in them 10 hours. Ain't nobody got time for that foolishness. Ain't nobody participating in that shit that these young boys got going on. The shit lame. Just because y'all heard Jay-Z say he do it, just because y'all heard Wayne say he do it, y'all think that's what should be done. It's cap. Salute to Jadakiss for mentioning that on that podcast. I got a video on my channel. It's one of my most watched videos talking about this man, Pastor Manning. He is out of Harlem, New York City. He says a lot of profound things about black people. And a lot of people agree with him, and a lot of people disagree with Pastor Manning. But he is extremely viral. And as of recently, I heard him say this on this video. He said, black people are the best slaves. This is an 8-minute clip. We may not listen to all of it. We may listen to about 5 or 6 minutes of it, though. But let's get on into this, man, and see what this brother's talking about. Real spill.
Now, when you look at black people, you look at the African-American people, what you will see are a people that of all the people on the planet have been the easiest people in time and antiquity to enslave. Nobody, no other people, while there have been enslavement, there have been nation capturing nations. When America came here and took this nation from the American Indians, the Navajo, the Arapaho, the Cherokee, the Blackfoot, all of that, America could not enslave the Indians. They wouldn't do it. They would not be slaves. They would not serve the purpose of slave, not even indentured servants. They wouldn't do it. The American Indians would not. It's been tried in France. It's been tried in India with the class systems. It's been tried with peoples all over. Russia has tried it. Nobody has made a good a slave as black people, the ones on the dark continent of Africa. Of course, they don't call it that anymore. Nobody has made has been as good a slave as black people. Now, I'm not saying this because I dislike black people. I live in a black skin. I live under, well, I suppose culturally people will identify me as an African American, and I live in a black skin. The name that I have, James Manning, comes from the Irish that lived in South Carolina that gave liberty to my father and my mother. But I live in a black skin. I'm not saying the things about black people because I would want to hurt or harm them or not identify with them. I'm saying it because it's historically true. Search the records. When the Jews went into Egypt to be slaves, the quarters, the living quarters, were not the same as were down in the quarters of the slaves here in America. There was no intermingling of Pharaoh and his army and his people with the Jewish people. The Jews remained pure-blooded Jews. There was no mixture. There was no miscegenation. And there was equity. There were more of servants, indentured.
Hold on. He caught my attention with that there was no mixture. As if people wanted to be all worded, you know, because some of those slaves in that era, when we look at the reason why it's mixed cultures and stuff, they was, you know, taken advantage of. That's the word I want to use. Or is he saying that some people was willing participants? Some people was just wanting master to, you know, create with them. You know, this brother is crazy, boy. He be saying some stuff. Let him continue on.
Than they were slaves. And even the boy Moses was found by Pharaoh's daughter floating down the Nile River. She picked him up. Though he was the son of a slave, she picked him up and brought him to Pharaoh's court, and Pharaoh kept him and treated him like it was his own son. Nobody on the planet Earth has ever been as willing a slave as the so-called black man, the so-called African-American man. Nobody has ever been. And the reason why the black man has served as a good slave, has made a good slave, is because of his mentality. Now, my job is to wake him up. My job is to bring the stark truth that has caused him to behave the way he behaves, live the way he lives, kill and cut and lie and cheat and be dependent. My job is to clean all that up, tear all that up, and make him a man, because he's not a man now. Jesse Jackson is not a man. Al Sharpton is not a man. Black leaders, T.D. Jakes is not a man. Barack Hussein Obama is not a man. They're slaves. They still have the slave mentality. Louis Farrakhan is not a man. They're slaves. They're still slaves. They have not yet, if they were men, then black people would not be living, doing, killing, living at the bottom of the world's social register, have died out. Whether it was in 1965, there were 40 million blacks, Afro-Americans, or Negroes in America. Now they're only 30 million. 10 million have died. 2 million are in prison because black people have not become men and women yet. They're still slaves. And the very fact that they follow people like Barack Hussein Obama, and you can't show them the truth, that's how they became slaves in the first place. The witch doctors in Africa sold them to the white man, and they refuse to acknowledge it to this very day. Black people still tell that Kunti Kinte lie, that white people came and threw a net on them and caught them one by one in the jungle and put 5,000 of them on a ship at one time. It didn't happen that way. It's a lie, but black people fail to recognize it because a slave never looks at the truth. They sold the Jesse Jacksons, the Al Sharptons, the Barack Hussein Obamas, sold black babies into slavery to white slave traders off the west coast of Africa. But to this very day, black people won't acknowledge it. To this very day, black people will not realize they've not built anything. All of their cities are ghettos, filled with crime, laden with darkness and filth when it doesn't have to be that way. Black people could be cleaner, safer, more loyal, more integral. They can be. They don't want to be. They don't want to be. They don't want to be. They enjoy being dependent. They enjoy the lies of the Democratic Party that keeps them dependent. They enjoy hearing somebody say, we'll build a house for you. You don't have to build your own. We'll build a school for you. You don't have to build your own. It's in their hearts. It's a curse. All these groups growing up, white people are the devils, and the Jews, real Jews, are the black people. All this confusion, all this prosperity, talking in tongues, blasphemy, Pentecostal, Baptist, Methodist foolishness. Al Sharpton is not a man, he's a slave. Jesse Jackson is not a man, he's a slave. T.D. Jakes is not a man, she's a slave.
Boy, this brother is cooking some shit. You may disagree, but statistically in how he's speaking, boy, this brother is cooking. When I look at Chicago and Memphis, you know, I try not to string up all of us together because black doesn't speak specific enough. You know, you have people that's not even from America that's considered black just because of the color of their skin, and their crime rates and things get, you know, wrapped in with the American black people who actually don't behave like that. All of us don't behave like that. But when I look at the metropolitan cities, this majority of us is crazy. When I look at the crime statistics, the Detroits, the Gary, Indianas, the Memphis, Tennessee, the Atlanta, Charlotte, you know, that's where I'm located, man. It's probably a lot of black people here. It's majority black, but to me, this black heaven, to be honest with you. The crime rates ain't that high like that in comparison to a Tennessee or Alabama or something like that. You know, him calling Al Sharpton not a man, I just was wondering, why every time somebody black die, Al Sharpton and Ben Crump have to appear? They appearing right now in that Noah Wells situation, and they making it a racial topic when it was obviously clear that the Noah Wells guy was cool with white people. You know, not taking defense for the white individuals or whatever, though, but those was his friends. He played football with them. He felt comfortable around them. Things happen when the youth is around each other. I would like to get a better understanding for that case before I speak on it, because I'm really not a person that talks about criminality like that. But he caught my attention when he said T.D. Jakes is a slave. He is not a man. Al Sharpton is not a man. He's a slave. Barack Obama is not a man. He's a slave. This is very interesting. Let me let this brother continue on.
Cornel West is not a man. He's a slave. And then you have people like Maya Angelou and Toni Morrison say to you that the first black president was William Jefferson Clinton, even though he's a white man. The slave mentality in the dreadlock wearing Toni Morrison and the dreadlock wearing Maya Angelou wearing their dreadlocks, yet calling the white Bill Clinton a black president. Slave mentality. They're slaves. And needs to stop. And you need to hear the truth. Now you let another slave, Barack Obama, vote. You voted for him, sold your soul to the devil for him. Well, I'm here to deliver the truth. First of all, black people need to repent and they need to stand up in mass and say, thank God for the white America. Thank God that he's allowed you, even in slavery, you're brought here. You got a great chance to live in the greatest nation on the planet. You need to start there, and you better not call me an Uncle Tom or an Uncle Ruckus or a porch monkey, because I'm telling you the truth. You're never going to get anywhere until you start praising God for being here in America. Oh, otherwise, we'll send you down to Haiti or send you over there to Zimbabwe that used to be Rhodesia, which used to be a great nation, or send you over there to South Africa, or to Rwanda, or Uganda with Idi Amin, or Monrovia with Master Sergeant Doe. Stop this foolishness. Black people killing one another. You need to thank God, and you need to open your minds to the truth. And I'm going to tell it.
Welcome to another.
This is the conversation I wanted to switch to anyway in the first place. This is Coleman Hughes and Dr. Cornel West. You can see it in my showrunner at the bottom. I wanted to get to this conversation, but good God Almighty, that brother said you need to thank God that you are in America. And you know what? I actually agree with this brother wholeheartedly. I want to say it. Thank God I'm in America. Real talk. I'm trying to find the clips. Give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to find the clip so I can see where here it go. So where is the history piece? Slavery as a precondition, capitalism. What should we teach our kids about? Okay, it's 11 minutes and 41 seconds. I had this queued up to talk about with you guys, right?
They are, no matter what.
I had this queued up to talk about with you guys, Cornel West, because I found this to be an interesting conversation. Cornel West and Coleman Hughes, and it's talking about what should kids be taught about American history. And that brother just said, Pastor Manning, that Cornel West is a slave. He said, first of all, you need to thank God you in the greatest country of America. Let me give him a round of applause. I know many people may disagree with what he said, but I found it interesting. I found it educational, and I just wanted to do a video on that piece to just get perspective, to learn, to see what other individuals' thoughts are. And I would love to further the conversation in the comment section below. But let's get to this conversation about what should American history be teaching children in America. This is Dr. Cornel West and Coleman Hughes. Let's go.
Part of the country, no matter which corner of the globe they are.
Okay, you raise a lot of things there. I want to follow up, and I want to go back to the beginning. You made an incredibly important observation, one that I've thought, in my own conceptual language many times, which is that everything depends on whether you judge America against the backdrop of the world in which it was born, or whether you judge it in a vacuum. And this is true not just of America. This is actually true of every major religion too, right? Like if you judge what the Old Testament says by modern standards, slavery's legal in there, right? It doesn't say get rid of your slaves. It says here's how you regulate slavery. If you judge the Quran against the backdrop of today, again, slavery is legal, women are second-class citizens, and all the rest. If you judge it against the world that it actually came into, many of these texts were relatively progressive, right? Right. Like the fact that the Quran told you to, treat your slaves nicely and consider even manumitting them as an optional act of service. That was progressive relative to the norm at the time, which was everyone enslaving everyone, period. Right.
That's right.
So it's crucial to judge things in their context. My worry with how people learn American history is what they learn is that America founded itself on liberty and simultaneously kept Black people in bondage. Purely hypocritical. Many of them knew it was hypocritical at the time. Some of them were more courageous and principled in fighting it. Some were more practical, less principled, and so forth. But what they don't learn is the backdrop, right? So if you don't understand that slavery was the norm pretty much everywhere in the world at the time, including on the continent of Africa, in the Middle East, in Korea, in China, serfdom in Russia, if you learn about it and avoid, you come away feeling much more like America is a case study in hypocrisy mainly, rather than a case study in the attempt to be better. And my question is really for you. Have you thought much about what it is that Americans should learn about their country, let's say K through 12?
I want to stop him because he's talking about slavery from a biblical standpoint, it being accepted. He's talking about slavery existed globally. But what I want to say to that is that, you know, it may have existed globally, but does that make it okay? It isn't okay. You know, when we talk about American history, when we even include the word America, we're talking about our own. So speaking about the global thing is trying to minimize what we have, you know, dealt with. We care about what we're dealing with, not about what other countries is doing and what the Bible say, because I'm not really a Bible thumper like that. I have read it multiple times, but I see our government don't obey the biblical terms. The government doesn't obey what's being written and said in the Bible. They do what they want to. It's a separation of church and state, you know. So when they talk about the Bible, I don't think that our leaders abide by the Bible. Just real talk, you know. And before I let him continue on and I let Dr. Cornel West speak, I want to say that slavery still exists. It's just not in a physical form. It exists through work, the consistency of doing something that you don't want to do. You may be earning a wage. It may be a different form of it, but it still does exist in this current time. But instead of the physical realm, it exists more in the mind. Let these brothers continue to cook, man. I'm getting so passionate about this, I can't even talk. Let's go.
And to add one more element to this, I believe very strongly in what I would call the curation problem, where everyone thinks the problem with history is like the problem that people lie about history, which is true, right? People lie. They say the Holocaust didn't happen. They say the slaves were happy. They say all this nonsense that has been debunked by careful scholars over the years. But the much deeper problem with history is the curation problem. It's the fact that you've only got 1 hour a day and a few pages in a textbook and 2 class field trips a year, and you have to pick what's important. And by definition, you have to exclude most of what happened. And so by your choice of what to teach, you know, assume everything is taught correctly, factually. Your mere choice of what to teach and therefore what not to teach is imparting a kind of values of its own.
I had to stop him again, y'all. I need to know y'all thoughts about this in the comment section below. This is important. You know, he talked about the curation of teaching history. You know, teaching is a luxury. Teaching has to be curated because of capitalism. Public schools only have a certain amount of time that they can teach a child. So they're curating on what they think is most important to them and what can be tested, because everybody doesn't have an appreciation for history. Everybody doesn't want to learn certain specifics about history. And people don't have the time to engulf themselves in that educational process because, you know, if you don't understand history, you will be missing out on a lot in life. History is one of the most important subjects of life. teachers' wages have an impact on the curation of teaching? And I would like to hear what Dr. Cornel West has to say because this is interesting. Let's go.
And so how do we deal with that? Like, what do we actually teach young Americans about their country?
Yeah, that's a very powerful question, though, brother. And for me, I just begin with the notion that all of us human creatures, we human beings, we are cracked vessels, and the best that we ever do is to learn how to love our crooked neighbors with our crooked hearts. And what that means then is that when you approach trying to understand the complexity of history, all of the ambiguous legacies of history, the good and the bad that exist simultaneously in the same traditions, all of that is a question of cultivating some kind of genuine humility. But see, if you begin reading American history on the assumption that somehow Americans are so exceptional and special and chosen, and therefore our history is going to be very different than the Russians and the Chinese and the Guatemalans and the Ethiopians and the Mongolians and the Persians, then you're already on a sentimental road rather than on a realistic road. And the great Oscar Wilde used to say what? Cynicism is the flip side of sentimentalism. So that if you start with sentimental notions of all the good on one side and all the bad on the other, and then you discover, lo and behold, the country that you thought was so exceptional is just like other countries. You got good and bad. You got hatred and difference. You got love and you got cruelty and so forth. So that humility is a shattering of this false sentimentalism that leads towards cynicism, and it generates a realism that's predicated on this, though, brother. You know better than anybody else coming out of that wonderful philosophy department at Columbia University, man, which is the fallible quest for truth and goodness and beauty. And if when you predicate it on the fallible quest for truth, and part of the condition of truth is what? To allow suffering to speak, your own suffering and the others, when you're talking about history. Part of beauty, as the great Rilke says, beauty ain't nothing but the first touch of terror that we can bear. So beauty, very much like the blues and jazz, or very much like Beethoven, comes from wrestling with deep, unflinchingly honest encountering with suffering and grief and loss. And goodness has to do with unflinchingly looking at the evil, not just in others, not just in society, but in one's self. And how then do you muster the armor to fight back the worst to accent the best? So that, for example, I've lectured for kindergarten. Some of my best lectures, actually, some of my peak lectures have been to kindergarten, brother. And I look at those brothers and sisters and say, oh, I'm looking at your eyes are the windows of your soul. How many of you all take a bullet for your mama? And they jump up. I say, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place. Now, in loving your mama, is your mama perfect? Is she pure? Is she always right at every instant? Get real quiet. Let's be honest. No, she isn't, but you still love her, don't you? You still, yes, I do, brother. Stand up if you love your mama. They stand up. Oh, now we get a little Socratic dimension to this thing. Because Socrates is about what? Noble discontent, an appreciation of what you have, but a willingness to be critical of yourself, society, and the world. So when we approach American history, we have to say, now let us look at what's going on with George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, what's going on with Thomas Paine from England, what's going on with the enslaved folk, what's going on with Phyllis Wheatley, I mean, in any of the figures, voices of that time. We're going to look for the best. We're going to look for the worst, just like your mama. We're going to look for that which can sustain us personally, socially, politically, civically, and we're going to look for what stands in the way, and what stands in the way is always heavy, brother. This is my blues sensibility, you see.
So how do you deal with, I mean, to the extent that America has been a force for good in the world, a lot of that is because America is a big country. We exist from sea to shining sea. There was, as you know, throughout the 19th century, common assumption among Americans of all political stripes that America ought to conquer the continent. I'm reading a biography of Washington right now, and I didn't know this. He usually referred to America in the early years as an empire, not as a republic. But what he meant by it was not an overseas empire like Britain. He meant this continent. Like we've got to get a hold on this continent, and the idea of providence. I don't know. I don't think most of the founding fathers didn't necessarily believe in a God that was answering prayers every day, but they believed in a divine force that was guiding the hand of the American Revolution towards.
I want to stop him for a minute because, a lot of young brothers and black brothers get into the political space and feel like they're included in America's structure for power, and they're actually not. It's just a belief. That's all it is simply just a belief. To me, listening to Dr. Cornel West speak, he's speaking about, having a sense of viewing people as valuable, viewing a person just like you would view your mother, somebody that doesn't look like you or isn't the same color as you. Coleman speaking about America as an empire versus a republic. I feel like, behind closed doors, America still operates as an empire and not a republic because the minority have the power and the voice. The majority is just existing and trying to survive another day. Let's let them continue on.
Victory and towards conquest of the continent. And this is what every textbook taught probably until 1900. And then, the textbooks would teach that there was God sent a wind to help carry Washington's troops over the Delaware and this kind of thing. All of this by modern ethics looks just like excuses for colonization, and in some cases genocide, but certainly colonization. And yet the America that we inherit today with Texas and California, you could add the Mexican War to this, right? Like we started that war by all historical accounts. I mean, even if technically a Mexican fired the first shot, we effectively provoked it on purpose, as a land grab, and viewed in isolation. Like, yeah, that seems like a pretty unethical act by most people's ethics today. But the end result was, I think, a large country that was a force for good on the planet and has been for all the intervening years. How do you reconcile that? How do you make sense of all that philosophically, right? Because if you are speaking purely in consequentialist terms, you can think along the lines of, well, all of those terrible actions led to a result of a country that has fought for liberty around the world, served as an example to other countries, beat the Soviet Union, beat Nazi Germany, bequeathed a peace dividend since World War II, most peaceful era basically in human history since 1945 under the American de facto empire. And yet, we violated all of these principles that most of us believe in to this day. So as a philosopher, how do you think about the ethics of that?
Mm-hmm. I think the important thing to keep in mind, though, brother, is the variety of voices and figures and movements in the history of the American empire. The first thing you do, and you already noted this, you've got to reject all forms of monolithic and homogeneous characterizations of the American empire. There's no such thing as American empire being one thing. This takes us back to the philosophical question of the one and the many, right? So that, for example, when we say it's a force for good, and you say, well, look at Mexico. When they pushed out the French, they defend the Mexicans. The United States did that. That was a force for good. Mexican War, no, Thoreau's going to jail, and Emerson got a critique because it's a phony war. And of course, Ulysses S. Grant, who was part of it, would say the same thing in his memoir, right? So that the first thing you have to keep in mind is there's a variety of figures and perspectives, sometimes variety of perspectives in the same figure. Lincoln, on the one hand, will give an inaugural address the first time and talk about, I'm open to compromising with black people being enslaved in perpetuity. Frederick Douglass called him what? The slave hound from Illinois. That's Frederick Douglass. Part of Lincoln's greatness was what? He changed his mind. 1872, he meets with the leaders. He wants to send them to Haiti. He wants to send them. We can't live together. We have to have black people leaving. He changed his mind at the end by 1864. Maybe we can create a multiracial democracy. Then you get the second inaugural address, one of the greatest speeches ever given, not just in the United States, but given by a politician, by elected official. And what is it about? It's about humility. It's about everyday people. It's about two sides praying to the same God, predicated on a barbaric evil of enslaving these peoples. And he's speaking in the midst of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of precious human beings who have been killed in the Civil War. He's growing all the time. Now that's not normal for human beings, let alone politicians. Most people don't grow like that. That level of maturity is not widely distributed, unfortunately, because it takes.
In the description of the show, I'm going to post a link to this. They are continuing on and they're speaking. They're kind of long-winded with this conversation. This is a good conversation I wanted to bring to my platform for people to check out. I feel like history is very important. I feel like the things that Dr. Cornel West was talking about, also Coleman Hughes is talking about, was very interesting. And I suggest people, brush up on their history, man. It's just interesting. Thank y'all for tuning in to my show. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, all the new subscribers. I highly appreciate y'all, man. Peace, love, plenty, abundance. Make sure you go get you some money, and I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.